Alright, it's time for another video. Hopefully this video is a little bit better than the last video, but if this is the first one of my videos you've seen and stuff, I'm making these videos about me discovering and learning about C++. If this helps anybody else out, inspirational wise, learning wise, great. But these videos aren't so much about me teaching anything, more about me learning. So, if you like the videos, hit the like button. Um, if there's something I say that's incorrect about what I'm going through it here, because I know C++ is going through some changes, feel free to leave it in the comments, a correction to something I've said. If you have any questions about anything I'm using, anything I'm doing, feel free to ask. I may not always get to the comments right away, but all right, let's get started. In the last video, we left off with C++, the friend keyword. Also, I said if this is your first time watching one of my videos, I'm using on the right side W3 School's website to help me learn about C++. It doesn't have all the information in there, but it's a great place to start for beginners. And on the left, I have VS Code. The code there is from the last video I made, and we are going to pick up with where we left off in the last video. I got a lot of videos out there, so maybe one of the other videos I have out there might help. I plan on making quite a few videos while I keep going through and learning about C++ and discovering things and writing code and all that sorts of stuff. So there's going to be quite a few videos still yet to come. Let's jump into this. The C++, the friend keyword. Normally, private members of a class can only be accessed using public methods like getters and setters, but in some cases you can use special functions called a friend function to access them directly. A friend function is not a member of the class, but it is allowed to access class private data. And then we got an example here. So let's go ahead and get started on this example. Let's see how much of it is still the same. It looks like everything is. I'm going to go ahead and clear this out. This was a default set that I had set for it. Looks like we got public right there with the employee. Okay, so this is where it's going to change a little bit. We got private there with public there. So let's go ahead and get rid of all this code because this is going to be changed. Go ahead and get rid of the comment as well. In the public section, we're going to have employee, the class name, accessing probably the private section, but integer s. And actually, this looks like it's going to be a constructor with salary accessed and set to s. And then it looks like we got a comment here, declare friend function. So the first one looks like I don't know if that's a function. No, that's a constructor because it's got the class name to it. This one right here just will not have the class name to it, so I'm pretty sure this is a. So differentiating between a constructor and a function for me right now is going to be a little bit difficult until I get them both down, especially since they're so similar to each other in terms of what they can do in a class. So we got the comment there. We're going to use that keyword friend right here. Create a void. It looks like void declaration more like display salary with a parameter of employee. So using the class name or the class right here with a variable of emp. This is just a declaration, so we need to go outside the class right here to create the definition for that function. Void display salary. Again, the parameter set to employee. Curly brackets for the data inside here, so we're just going to output salary and whatever the salary is. All right, and didn't finish it up. There we go. Okay, and then down here in the main, we're going to make a minor adjustment down here. So instead of just declaring this, we are also going to give it a value. And then I'm going to go ahead and take this right here out because it's no longer needed, as well as this right here because it's no longer needed either. So display salary with the, all right. Now, when I write these examples again, the first thing I try to do when I write these examples is try to decipher the code. This helps me to try to pull together what I have in short-term and long-term memory and try to solidify it better into long-term memory. So the first thing we did is we have a class right here named employee. So this is actually becoming a type. In the class, we are setting private, but as we learned in the last video or the last section and stuff, that classes by default are set to private, but it's good practice to go ahead and set it to private anyways. That way, if anybody else reads the code and stuff, there's no questions asked. So integer salary is declared in the private section. So it can only be accessed by, as far as we know, and what we're learning about, within the class itself is the only way it can be accessed. But learning about the keyword friend, or the function friend, right here, is giving us the ability to allow a function outside the class to access private data. So we've got it declared right here. We got the function right here, so it's a void function with the variable or name display salary with a parameter of employee as a type and EMP as a variable. And it's just going to simply output the content salary and then whatever salary is set to. EMP is just a variable, so it's going to be variable and salary for the class, because this is going to have access to the private via friend right here. And in the main, we are accessing it and setting a variable for my EMP with a capital E. If we use the lowercase e, it would be the same as this, and we don't want it to be the same. So we uppercase it. Actually, it still wouldn't be the same because we got more letters in this and that. So these are totally different, my mistake. But we were declaring a variable type employee and giving it a value of 50,000. And then we are going to call the function and set the argument for whatever my employee right here, my EMP, to 50,000. So this would be 50,000 right here, which when we call the function, we're going to place 50,000 here and 50,000 there. Since this has the ability to access a private via friend, 50,000 going to be placed here as the salary right there. So this is how my method of trying to learn it is, because I'm trying to decipher the code as I go through it. Some of the stuff I don't decipher, like this part right here. I don't decipher this part right here, the type of function, because it's something that I've already discovered and learned about in previous sections. If you don't know what these things are and stuff, you'd have to watch my previous videos or go through this website yourself and start studying it yourself. I do have other sources I use to study this to get a better understanding of things. We just haven't gotten there yet. This is where I'm starting because this is where most beginners should start. It's very beginner friendly. It won't give you all the information, but it'll give you basically the if the basics of C++ were divided into 2, 3, or 4 sections, this is pretty much section 1 of the basics. Section 2 may be just getting this stuff memorized. My other source and stuff would probably deal more with section 2, 3, and 4 if there was multiple sections to a beginner learning this stuff. So at this point in time, we should be seeing in the terminal salary and then 50,000 because it's being called right here. That function, that void function, is being called right there. Let's go ahead and save it, which it already is saved, so let's just run it then. And we get salary 50,000. Moving on in the material here, example explain the friend function, which is this one right here. Display salary right here is declared inside the employee class right here. And you can see that's the employee class, and this is all being declared inside of it. This is the end of the employee class right here. But defined outside. So in the definitions right here. So this is a declaration, this is a definition, which is two different things. I believe in this case and stuff, if we wanted to, we can wipe this out and go ahead and put the definition all right there. And so then we'd have the friend given access to, and you probably, yeah, you still have to have a friend probably, most likely, for this to be able to access that, but I'm not sure. It may not. If this function was inside here, it may not actually need the word friend to access that. We can play around with that later if we want to. Even though display salary, the function display salary, is not a member of the class, it can still access the private member salary, which is the private member salary. In the main function, we create an employee object, which is my EMP, and call the friend function to print its salary. Call it to print it right there. And since this section was so short, we'll see if that works. We'll see if we can't go ahead and clear this out right here. Get rid of the comment. And simply move this function inside. I'm sure it'll work, but I'm not 100% positive. Go ahead and clean up some of the space right here. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Shoot. Oh well. Not that big of a deal. Let's see. So void display salary parameter employee EMP and uh, and then standard output. Oops. Salary. And then EMP dot salary. And control save. Did I not spell that right? Why is this identifier undefined? What am I missing here? I'm checking to see if I got it spelled right first. Okay, so let's see if that changes, because right here we got an error and it looks like it's spelled, I got it spelled the same way. I'm double checking myself on that. And since it's saying it's not declared, let's go ahead and add the friend keyword, or the friend function here, keyword function, and see if it changes anything. No, that doesn't. Trying to see if there's something wrong here. I'm currently just kind of experimenting with this to determine Okay, maybe it just took a minute for it to update. So let's get rid of this again and see if the error comes back. Control save. Yes, that error does come back. So we need that friend in there. Let's go ahead and run this real quick and see what we get. Yes, we get the error. Friend space. Control save. Run it. And no. Okay, so it looks like even if we have it declared and a definition of it in here, we still have to have it considered as a friend in order for it to access salary. So it doesn't matter if you declare it in here and have the definition outside, or if you declare it and have the definition inside at the same time, like this is right here. It looks like you still have it set to friend. Uh, so it has access to the private section. So it looks like you can create multiple. If this was a constructor, um, it may not be the same way. But this is not a constructor. This is just a function. A constructor actually has the employee right there, which means it's a child of. And I know that that word right there and stuff was only used once in the last section, last video. We haven't gotten a full definition of it, but since this is part of it, of the class, being that it has the class name to it, this does not, and therefore it is an actual function, not a constructor. Now, can we make an adjustment to that? I don't know. I'm trying to think if there is a possibility to make an adjustment to that stuff to make it a. But if it was that case and stuff, then you really wouldn't need both of these lines. You would simply use employee, uh, set it to 50,000, just like you have it right here because you're already doing this right here, and then simply call it out right here. So you wouldn't even need this right here. You would simply just have the output right here, and then call out my EMP dot salary. So if you got rid of all this right here, we already have access to it through there. We wouldn't need this anymore. We would simply standard output salary. Oops, it's supposed to be content text salary, and then my EMP dot salary. Unfortunately, though, we can't do that because we can't output something we can't access. That's why this right here is giving us member employee salary uh, declared as inaccessible. So you actually have to create the function for it and give it a friend title. So, all right, moving on to the next part. So we are kind of experimenting, learning this way and stuff, seeing what we can and cannot do. Um, where this might be useful, we have not yet done a real life example. Uh, Even if we did one and stuff, it probably would not be enough for at least me to understand fully. I am finding that there's quite a few things and stuff these days that I am not understanding or getting and stuff, and so I'm kind of having to educate myself and do a lot of research to continuously try to understand it, but I'm having to do it in a way that I would understand it, where other people may not. So, vice versa and stuff. If somebody else understands something, I may not understand it. So, moving on to the next section. C++ inheritance. Inheritance allows one class to reuse attributes and methods from another class. It helps you write cleaner, more efficient code by avoiding duplication. We group the inheritance concepts into two categories. Derived class, which is child. Okay, so there's that word child again. The class that inherits from other classes. And then base class, which is parent, the class being inherited from. Okay, so if you had, um, well, let's go ahead and do the example and stuff. Maybe we can try to understand it that way. To inherit from a class, use the uh, colon symbol. In the example below, the car class, child, inherits attributes and methods from the vehicle class parent. So maybe this is something where we're creating, okay, so we're actually going to create two classes here. So let's go ahead and get this example done. Let's go ahead and clear out this code right here. And it doesn't look like we're going to keep pretty much the same thing we got here. So we're going to go ahead and redo this. This would be good exercise to rerun it anyways. So we're going to change the name of class to vehicle. And then set the first thing to public. Standard string. Brand is the variable. And we're going to set that to Ford. Void honk as a function, no parameters. And we're going to output some text here. And then space and then a new line. And that'll be our void function right there. And then we're going to go down here and looks like we're going to, so this, it does have some comments in here. So I'm going to add the comments in here. This is going to be the base class. And this one right here is going to be the derived class. Class, car, public, vehicle. Curly brackets, public. Oops, too many. It's not even spelled right. There we go. Alright, standard string model. I'm going to set that to Mustang. And then colon because this is another class. And then we're going to jump into main. Let's clean this up a little bit. Alright. Going to declare a variable for car. Oops. And then give it a honk. And then with the variable, we're going to call the function with no argument since there is no parameter set for it. And then we're going to output my car dot brand plus space plus my car dot model. And then that. Okay. Go ahead and save that the way it is. So we have our base class right here. Vehicle is the name of the class, which will be on new type. This is all public right here. We got a standard string variable. I'm going to go and create a space right here. We got a standard string variable and stuff already declared with a value of Ford. So brand variable, string type, Ford value. We got a void function right here with the name honk, and it's going to output some text. Then we got a second class right here, which is actually a derived class. So without this right here, this would just be another class. But with this right here, we were saying that this is a child class or a derived class. As of up here, which is, here, I'll go and mark it down here. Derived class also known as a child, to the class inherits from another class, or slash parent. So this class, okay, so you can't see all that. So we're gonna go here and do this right here. So derived class or child class inherits, the class inherits from another class slash parent. And in this case, the parent class is the base class. A lot of classes here, huh? The class being inherited from slash, well, we actually don't need that in there at all. Or this one right here. Okay. So this being the derived class, inherits, but you have to add in the class and what part of the class is being inherited. So if it was a private section of the class, it'd probably have to have the private right here. So it's inheriting that. So and this is going to end up being public. So, and in this case, this class is just setting a variable with a type string Mustang. So then we declare car with a variable, and call the function inside the class with the variable car, and then output the brand and the model. So we're gonna call it first. So in our output, we should get this right here first, which will be this this content right here first, and then after that, since it's being called first, we should get Ford and Mustang second with a space in between them. Let's go ahead and save that like that, and let's see if we got that correct. Run it. Yes, it's what's being outputted. Again, for me, this is going to take a while to get used to how classes work, how derived class or base class or child and parent work, because this is a lot of back and forth, and you can see me kind of just slowly looking at this and getting it. Once it becomes more natural and stuff, I'll see it and be like, okay, yep, 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 sort of thing, quicker. Which is the whole idea of learning anyways. Okay, so the next part after the example, why and when to use inheritance. It is useful for code reusability, reuse attributes and methods of an existing class when you create a new class. So how is this useful in future code? We don't know yet. The fact that we are creating a second class and saying that this is a child or a derived class, a child of the class vehicle, and it inherits everything from the public area. So then, therefore, all we have to do is call out car, which then calling out car calls out vehicle at the same time because of the inheritance. We use car, since it's got the inheritance of vehicle, to actually call out. So we're using this class right here to call out this function right here. And then we're outputting the information. So that, yeah, that is quite confusing and stuff, especially for somebody that's new to this like me. And it's going to take me a minute to get used to that and understand that fully. Moving on to the next section though. I thought I clicked on it. There we go. Okay, so the next section is going to be C++ multi-level inheritance. But I think for now we're going to stop right there with this video. Again, if you like the video, click the like button. If there's something I've said that's wrong, like I said, I have dyslexia, so it doesn't all come out right all the time. As you can see, when I go to type some things and stuff, I forget some things by mistake because I'm jumping ahead of myself or whatnot. It does happen. I try to catch myself as much as possible. It's about the best way I can go about correcting myself with the dyslexia. Um, but yeah, I think that'll be the end of this video. On the next video, we'll pick up right here. We still got quite a bit to go. We've gone through about half of class so far, so we've gotten still quite a bit more to go. It looks like we got multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance, access specifiers again, polymorphism, templates, files, and date to still deal with class. So we still got a lot to discover and learn about class. And as you can see, even this section stuff, I've been through this section before, done all this before, and apparently it didn't all stick. Some of it did, some of it didn't. So maybe this time around it'll stick a little bit better, and I'll have better understanding of it. But that's kind of the whole point of learning, is to repeat the stuff over and over, get it memorized. So, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you next time.